Welcome back everybody to another Dragon Ball Super video here with Kyle Chris, and today we are going to be going over the state of green going into set 13. Now obviously it is past the pre-release, so most people have access to these cards already, but since the set hasn't officially dropped yet, these videos are still viable. And over the weekend I wasn't able to record anything. Very busy work week for me, so I wasn't able to do much, but I have, if I can show you, this whole side of my desk is just filled with cards. Currently building some decks and have some interesting videos that I'm kind of planning on for you guys. So make sure you guys like and subscribe. Let me know what you guys think of these type of videos. You guys want me to do these for the next set. As I said during the first state video, I said I was going to be doing one of these breakdowns during the middle of the set as well. So we'll probably end up revisiting this stuff within the next 3 weeks, 4 weeks or so. So with green, green is a little bit of context for green. Green is currently the weakest color in the format going into set 13. That being said, green does have some tops, green does have some wins, all kind of heavily focused around this aggro sort of style, except for maybe one appearance. Green also took a pretty big hit with the ban of a card called Master Roshi Kamehameha Origins, which is a card that was able for you to recycle dormants, where you're able to cycle other extra cards you would use. And with inclusion of a new deck with a new leader, Bandai probably felt it was a little too broken if Master Roshi was a thing, so they just banned it. And even though green has been one of the weakest colors in the format, it also has some of the most expensive base staple cards. You know, Charismatic Villain, Dormant Potential, Stealth Earth Destroying Kamehameha. These are very expensive cards that are not secret rares. Probably the reason why green's not played a ton. You know, you can't have a color that's very weak and then also is very expensive. It's not a good formula for people to play that color. So I think with the banning of Master Roshi, I think it actually is a good thing, because I think what will happen is, hopefully the course over this next set, a changing in how green is played. And I think this will ultimately allow green to be more accessible in some facet. Also, with the reprints of set 10 and set 11, preferably set 10, with the reprinting of Dormant Potential and Charismatic Villain, those cards will drop in price and essentially will be more available for the community. Now, the decks that currently are top in the green meta, you have Majin Vegeta, Reboot Gohan, and Cell Surge. Now, Reboot Gohan and Majin Vegeta kind of go hand in hand. Gohan being the best of 3 aggro deck of choice, and Majin Vegeta being the best of 1 aggro deck of choice. The reason why Gohan is not the best of 1, because he is banned in best of 1s. So these decks kind of go hand in hand. Gohan is more leader-centric, where you're focused on killing your opponent with your leader swings. Majin Vegeta just kills you with a ton of double strike swings from its leader and then from all the battle cards that you play. And one thing to keep in mind too is a good aggro deck generally has the ability to restand 2 energy during its awaken phase, and Gohan and Vegeta both do that. Gohan obviously has the ability to restand 2 and draw a card, but it also awakens at 3 life, so it awakens at a little bit of a later life total. So Surge has been the premier hand destruction deck, hand control deck, in the past 2 formats. There's been a few different variations. There's been just green good stuff. There's been a maiden version of the deck where you're playing all the maiden cards. There's been the Xeno Frieza with the dragon, with the the Dark Dragon Balls. All of these are good. Cell has, just kind of been turned into this incredibly powerful green deck. And the main reason why this deck I think is good is the fact that you don't have to swing to gain advantage, which allows you to just rip cards from your opponent's hand and not give them extra cards by swinging early. So you're actually, they're actually not gaining any sort of value. They're not progressing in the game state because they're not able to awaken as quickly because you're not attacking them. So it actually makes the deck very, very powerful. I think all of these decks will be played into next format. Truthfully, I think all of these decks will probably be in the same spot that they are, just because there's not enough in the next set, I think, to knock any of these off of their perch, so to speak. Now, saying that, a deck that does have some potential going into next set is going to be Green Frieza Starter Frieza. From the beginning of the Unison Warrior block, this was one of the starter decks that came out. Focuses on playing nothing but Frieza army cards, basically, or just non-Saiyan cards. The new SR that comes out, called Frieza Invader from Another Dimension, this card allows you to produce tokens that are Frieza army cards, and then your leader can actually pop those Frieza army tokens. And then with that, your leader is able to rip cards from your opponent's hand and give your unison crit and different things like that. It's very powerful, very, very powerful. It's a better 1-drop version of Demigra for this deck particular. Because this deck, you can play it on 1 +2, and then +1 go up to 2, and now you already have access. Access to Frieza Charismatic Villain. This card also has a permanent where if this card were to lose a marker from an opponent's attack, you may pop one of your tokens instead. And that's a permanent. That's every single time. So as long as you have a token on board, you can do that. And that's very, 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 very good. So just some things to keep in mind. Early, you do have the ability to turn to Awaken. It's a little strange. You have the ability to do it. You'll probably Awaken on turn 3. This is one of the elite hand control decks in the game. I used to play this when the set dropped. I think I've lost maybe 1 game with this Frieza, and this is before Dormant came out. No, Dormant was out. I just didn't have access to Dormant. So I played I won a few of my locals with this deck, not even having Dormants. So it was pretty good. And that was before there was a secret rare for the deck too, because now you can play the Majin Buu secret rare. Now you can play Heroine's Lineage. You can play there's a lot of different things you can play. So also this deck just has a ton of Frieza support. There's a ton of Frieza green cards out there. You also can play green yellow. There's a lot of different things you can try out. I want to see some people play this deck. I want to see it top. It's one of my favorite green leaders. So hopefully someone can make that happen for me since I don't play green anymore. Now a deck that can possibly change the meta that's coming into the full is going to be King Cold. This is going to be the premier field control green deck. Having access to all the green staples and being a different type of green deck that's not just focused on ripping your opponent's hand or being an extremely aggro deck, you have the ability to play out a ton of field spells and then you gain advantages off of those field spells. Chilled, which is the other deck that's in the format, no one's going to play Chilled. If someone ends up playing Chilled and topping with it, I'm sure someone's going to try, but the deck's just not good. I think it was probably a waste of cardboard, honestly, to print that leader. I'm not a fan. I don't see the value in it. And King Cold obviously was the only choice. But saying that, King Cold is an extremely good leader. There's a lot of things that this leader does. And that's... It's a really, really good leader. I know there's a lot of people who feel the same way. There's a lot of people who think this leader is terrible. You'll find out when this leader is being played at regionals and at your locals, and if someone has access to all the green cards and they know how to play the deck, they know how to play it on curve. This deck is very, very scary. Now some key components. I obviously could have just picked cards like Dormant, Charismatic Villain, Seltzer Destroying Kamehameha, the normal staple cards you play in green decks. But I wanted to be a little bit different and go over some other cards that have had some usage before or have never seen play, and you can use these cards to your advantage when you're playing green. Hasty Dispatch Dispo is a 1-drop where you can pitch it from your drop to your warp to play a 1-drop out for free with its skills negated. This could be helpful if there's a particular card you want to put on board. You do it at the end of your turn, pass, card gains its skills back. Kakunsa, Feral Fury, is one of those cards you can play out. This is the green version of Basil from Draft Box 5. And you play it out, draw a card, you burst 2. Opponent has 8 more cards and 3 more energy. This card becomes a 20k double strike till the end of your next turn, until the start of your next turn. For 1 energy. It's pretty powerful. Also, it gets cards into the drop area, which is good for most green decks because it allows you to play out stuff from your drop area. Next card is Son Goku, Evening the Odds. This is a green card that has never seen any sort of sideboard potential in any deck. But if your leader is green, you pay 1 and you have no battle cards in play. Place this card from your hand in a drop, choose one of your opponent's battle cards, and KO it. This is a 1-drop KO anything, as long as it doesn't have barrier. This is very good. So if they wipe your board on the last turn with some sort of card, and then you just play this down, pop that card, now they don't have access to it. So it's a very cool card. Like I said, it is very situational, but it is a way to, funny enough, even the odds, as the card says. It's a very, very powerful card. All these cards are pretty cheap, but Cocoons is probably the most expensive because it is an SR. I think it's maybe $4 or $5, so you can get a place at under $20. For Goku and Dispo, both of them being rares from Dropbox 5, they're essentially available for pretty cheap. I know Dispo at one point was like $10, but they're probably $1, maybe $2 each. So pick those up. If you're a green player, just good cards to have for the sideboard because it just gives you other options that you can use. That's the point of sideboards, is to use your brain and come up with different things. Now, some important pickups for next set. All of these cards are focused around King Cold because, as I said before, Chilled is I'm just acting as if it doesn't exist right now. The King Vegeta Unison plays in the King Cold deck. It's a very powerful unison, being able to play out field spells, being able to pop cards, and also be a game ender for you. It's just a very, very, very good card for you to use. Cooler Vicious Ambush. This replaces the Surprise Attack Frieza that came out forever ago, which was a 15k that came out for free whenever you KO'd a card. The difference with that card, it was a 10k combo. This is a 5k combo. You pay 1 green for whenever you activate an extra card to play this card from your hand. And this is once per turn. This allows you to, whenever you play a field spell off of your Unison, for instance, you get the effect off of that, and then you can tap 1 green to play this card out from your hand, and now you have a 15k body that has crit on board for free, or for 1 energy. That's a very, very good value. And that's once per turn. So you activate Dormant on your opponent's turn to pop stuff, you can tap 1 green to play this. And then they attack, they do 1 more, whatever, and then now you have a 15k body on board, and now you can play 1 on your turn, and now you have 2. So it's a very, very good card to use. Cooler Effortless Strike. This is the money card for green in set 13. To counterplay, you play this card. If opponent's playing a battle card 4 or less, let's put it in the drop area instead. And then this card's cost is reduced by 1 for each extra card in your battle area or drop area. So essentially, this works with King Cold, but it also works with other decks. If you're running Dormants, running Seltzers, running Kamehamehas, Shocking Death Balls, other negates or other green extra cards, this card can become a 1-drop, which is very good. And when this card's played, if your opponent has more than 8 cards in hand, they choose 1 card in their hand and discards it. So not only does it pop something before it's played, gives you a 15k body for potentially 1 energy. You also can rip a card from your opponent's hand. That's a lot of value in 1 card. And this has an SPR and an SR variant. So the SR variant will probably be pretty cheap for a little bit. Saying that though, Charismatic Villain, both the SPR and the SR, are over $30. This card will probably be on the same sort of path, especially once green becomes super playable again. This card's going to go up in price. So if you don't have it for green, you should get him now, or probably wait till release so the prices kind of fluctuate a little bit. But this is going to be a card you're going to want, so make sure you get it. I think both coolers are actually almost on the same level of viability for King Cold, or just for green decks in general. Just being able to play out a 1-drop 15k crit, or being able to play out a 1-drop that pops a card being played and pops a card in your opponent's hand. It's very, very good. But that's what I got for you guys today. That's a green breakdown. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. As always, hit the bell for all notifications. We do post videos weekly on the channel. And I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.